Hello, everybody. Welcome to Florida Craft Art's second statewide craft conversation. I am really hoping that this is something that takes off and connects people around the state. Next year, we did two this year. We're hoping that next year we're going to do four. So if you enjoy this program or if you think we could do things better, let us know. But please do share it with your other friends because I know that all of you have friends in the craft world. We had, I think, close to 80 registrants for this particular call, which is a higher number than the last one that we did. So I think people are hungry for this kind of thing. And it really is where the roots of Florida craft art started. For those of you that might be new to us, I'm just going to hit upon what we're about very quickly because I talked about it last time, but I always want
I
to
think
let people know what we do
how to
and what
get
we're up to.
inspired or something like that.
Huh? Oh, so I thought somebody said something to me, but we have all sorts of programs here. We have about 12 exhibitions a year, so I encourage you all to check out our website and particularly the artist opportunities section because we often have calls to artists. We have our Florida Artists Gallery where we represent over 200 artists from the state of Florida. In the Artist Gallery, we only show Florida artists. In our exhibition space, we show artists from all over the world. This last year, we had in one show, we had somebody from Paris, Australia, and New Zealand all at one time. So that was exciting for me. We are also very happy to have a just a heart cup filling, let's call it, youth arts program where we partner with wonderful organizations like Big Brothers and Big Sisters and the Ronald McDonald's House and other schools and social service organizations. And the focus there is just bringing meaningful creative experiences while supporting artists with mission-aligned paid opportunities. And what that means is that one of our missions is to get artists paid. So we are very, very happy to be able to get those programs sponsored so that we can move that money along to artists so that they can do what artists do. The other program that we're very excited about, it seems like it just happened, is our Emerging Artist Program. And this one's probably the one that touches the state most right now. We had over 65 applications from across Florida this year. It was a much smaller endeavor just a few years back, and I'm very, very excited that we have artists from as far away from Jacksonville and Tallahassee this year. I'm hoping to get some more of South Florida involved soon. And one of the exciting things about that program is that it does what this call does. We bring artists of all ages who are just ready to take their next step in their careers, but we bring them together in all sorts of different ways so that they can start making connections too, because we think that's one of the things that is really important about an organization like ours. Again, I encourage you all to visit our wonderful, wonderful website that gives you a little bit more information about this. We're also celebrating our 75th anniversary. And we're doing this in a few different ways. The first one was a exhibition that I co-curated with Michelle Teagle called The Makers Who Made Us. And you see a picture of our two beautiful founders in that shot. And this gave us an opportunity to take a bunch of great pieces out of our permanent collection from the very beginning. So we had works by these two lovely people, Elsa and Louis Frond. Elsa was a jewelry designer primarily, and there's one of her pieces. Louis was a WPA artist, and and a painter of murals and printmaker. Elsa's jewelry is in fantastic collections like the Victoria and Albert, the Met, the Louvre. She was very well regarded in her day, but she still found time to drive around Florida and get all these craft artists together in one room. Kudos to her, and I think about her all the time when things get tough here. Um, one last thing, well, not the last thing, one thing I do want to mention is that along with the exhibitions, we are having a 75th anniversary fundraiser on December 5th. So save the date. We're going to send more information about that out soon. You're seeing images, beautiful images from that exhibition, The Makers Who Made Us. The show, not only was it wonderful working with the very first executive director from Florida CraftArt in putting this together, I think we did a great job of working together, but it was also wonderful to have pieces by artists who I cared about a lot. Some of them not no longer with us. That black and white vessel in the left image on the right side of the left image was one of my college professors. So it's really wonderful that there is a collection like this that is keeping this kind of work together so that we can continue to teach people about craft in Florida. And that's probably one of our newest pieces in our permanent collection by Nanika Jones. She is an artist in Tampa, but shortly after she started showing up in our galleries, she also was showing up in places like the cover of Time magazine. So we are very excited and proud to have somebody like her in our midst. The other exhibition that we covered to celebrate our 75th, since we took a look back with the makers that made us, the second exhibition was called Florida Now, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We wanted to focus on artists that were using craft materials and techniques with a focus on materials. And show off what they were doing. We were lucky enough to put this thing together because we had fabulous sponsors, Catherine Howd and Edward Rux, the Anderson Bucklew Foundation, and Laura and Matt Bryant have all been really wonderful supporters of Florida Craft Art. What we were trying to do here was take a look across the state in a variety of materials and a variety of artists, what people were doing to push materials, process, and contemporary craft forward. We have gotten an amazing response to this. People have been super excited by not only the diversity of the artist, but the diversity of the art itself. And it was very meaningful for me running this organization that so many artists were game and were willing to lend us work. And the other piece that was very meaningful to me was that I asked my new friend, Holly Hannessian, to curate the show. It became another collaborative effort, I'm happy to say, but I was very proud to be in the midst of Holly. Holly is a recently retired head of ceramics, a professor at Florida State University, a nationally respected artist and educator, and most definitely a generous collaborator throughout this process. This was, like I said, a great thing for Florida Craft Art, and it's something that I'm very much hoping to repeat in a biennial or triennial kind of episodes because I think it's a great way to connect the state and just do what we're doing with this phone call, just connecting people across the state that are working in these mediums. Hello, Holly. Are you out there?
I am here.
Yay, Holly. Welcome. Holly, I know that, no, you might be home by now. Are you home?
No, I'm still in Montana. I
Oh,
am,
okay.
yeah,
Holly has
I'm
had loads of adventures in the past few months besides putting this show together, and she has adventures going forward. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that, and then I will let you go ahead and introduce your the artist from Florida now.
Thanks. Thanks, Jorge. It's been so great to work with you and the staff and everybody there. So yeah, right now. I'm really lucky. I'm in Red Lodge, Montana, with the Red Lodge Clay Residency, where I'm mentoring for really brilliant young ceramic artists who got juried in to work alongside each other in the studio. So, and yeah, since I've retired, I went back on the board of the big ceramic organization in Sika. And then this summer and next spring, I'll be teaching in Italy. So it'll be nice to be working with students again. And yeah, so I'll just would love to start to go ahead and introduce the people who are in the Florida Now show that we're going to have a few questions in the panel. And so by welcoming these panelists who are part of the exhibit, Marty Fielding, who is also a colleague of mine, makes ceramic vessels inspired by architecture, abstract painting, color theory. And Sherry Dunnigan, who's a metalsmith working in Southwest Florida. And then Wendy Bruce, a fiber artist from the Tampa Bay area, which is, exciting because she's in the area and gets to see a lot of these things come together at your gallery. There's a couple of areas of discussion that we're gonna hit on. One is material exploration and process, and because I finished introductions with Wendy, so I thought I would ask you first, Wendy, a question about material and process. So I know when I had a studio visit with you that you talk about challenging yourself as an artist and researching and pushing your fiber work forward in ways that is not something always in your wheelhouse. So your process is interesting. Is there any way you could share any thoughts on your material process and exploration with us a little bit?
Yes, I want to say thank you, Holly, for including my work alongside all the magnificent artists that are in the Florida Now exhibition. It's just been a real honor. And also, I want to say thank you to Jorge, to Liz, to Jillian and Dan, and everyone at CraftArt for their efforts because the exhibition has been a tremendous success. With regard to material exploration and process, I've discovered over the years that with a lot of trial and error that my work is most successful when I don't really envision how the art will look once it's completed. And that might sound surprising. I don't have a predetermined plan. In the past, when I've tried to work from sketches or I have a plan, I haven't been pleased with the results. So as a result, my current work that I'm doing now, I begin each piece by sewing with a sewing machine, random lines with black thread over a water-soluble fabric. And as those lines intersect, I start to see images in the shapes that are created by the negative spaces. So I develop the first image I see, and then that image leads to the next image, leads to the next image, leads to the next image. And that has become my process. It is messy because there's a lot of accidents that happen, but I do like the accidental surprises as the work develops. It's basically, I think of it as automatic drawing, where the images emerge and they're almost dreamlike. And I said the process was messy. That's because I'm always cutting and pulling out stitches and adding stitches and reconfiguring and mending. And that's the way the piece seems to come together. But then there's that magical point when the work starts to make itself. And I love that time when that arrives because from there it's just straight on to the finish. Um, it's a very meditative process, but I think it's a way that my personal voice can come forward in an honest way. So my approach is very random and it's subconscious, which is maybe somewhat different from traditional processes of craft arts.
Sounds great. I mean, I really enjoy hearing you talk about your work again. When we were in the studio, you're in your apartment, I was just fascinated by like the different layering and how it sort of went together and what it looked like before it was framed. So it's really great to hear more of an in-depth conversation. I think I want to now move on and ask Marty about your artistic practice and your current work. I know your ceramic work in the Florida Now show has some really strong color elements and formal geometric shapes. I wanted to ask you, have there been any other significant influences, cultural aesthetics that's also informed your current work?
Hey, Holly. Like Wendy, also thank you for you and Jorge for including me in the show. Um, it's really an honor to be a part of it, and it was great to be there for the opening and see everything in person. Um, I make vessels. I've been making vessels for many years now, and early on, I was really influenced by historical pottery, contemporary pottery, wheel largely wheel thrown, and I was always kind of altering things that were made on the wheel to try to make them maybe more mine, more abstracted. Um, and I started looking for ways or started looking for kind of sources outside of ceramics to bring back into it that would kind of help lead to kind of more re-envisioning of vessels. And the things that I landed on were architecture and abstract painting. Um, and the painting also kind of pairs with color theory. So looking at things like architects like Frank Gehry, Stephen Hall, painters like Mark Rothko, um, they kind of they envision their subjects in ways that we wouldn't expect. And so that was kind of what I was interested in doing with pots. Um, and so that influence definitely led to this kind of these geometric forms. The geometric forms with the color applied kind of make them, I think of them as three-dimensional utilitarian color field paintings. Um, And this also kind of, in terms of content, I was thinking about, I guess, kind of realizing or coming to some self-awareness of that I often in the beginning of developing this work, realizing that I often kind of look towards calming things as kind of a coping mechanism. And so I was looking for color combinations that gave kind of a calmness. Things like there was an image of a piece before with some kind of greens and blues, kind of pale color. Um, so it started as a way of kind of looking for calming expression, but really has taken on maybe more kind of broadened into expressing or trying to evoke other emotions as time has gone on. So yeah, so kind of approaching the color as an abstract expressionist painter would have. Um, but yeah, so those are definitely some of the influences that go into the work that's in the show.
Yeah, I remember seeing this red piece that we're all looking at now in your studio and just the vibrancy and the gravitas. It felt like it had some nice weight. And I think at the opening that piece sold. So it was like, Was that the piece that sold at the opening? I can't remember. Um,
It's a similar one, yeah.
oh, okay, yeah. But I think that the great thing about when Jorge and I were thinking and talking about this show was, there was some bright bounce of color from your work and also Jillian Mayer's work, who is the glass artist, and then um, Lauren Shapiro, the other ceramic artist. Like there were these bounce of color. And then there was, of course, some really quiet pieces like Dominique's work, which worked really well with Sherry Dunnigan, who I wanted to ask the next question, which is about uh, kind of like a reflection on the exhibition. And also, Sherry, I noticed you're
Mhm.
currently in the show America 250 Craft Today at Touchstone Center for the Crafts,
Yeah.
which also considers craft through a wider historical lens. So I just thought it would be really interesting to ask if you have any insight on where we are with now with craft and your insight as a jeweler, small metals worker with this show and sort of like a bigger, broader net.
Well, yeah, you got me thinking about a lot of things this week with that question. And I've been making now for probably 50 years, so it's been a long time. And I've had a good career. Uh, and I was thinking, I'm thinking about this. I got thinking about the relevance of craft now in this day and age. And And the thought occurred to me that in some regards, craft has become kind of irrelevant in that, 150 years ago, everything that we owned was made by somebody. Craft was a necessity of life. And in the day that we're living in, it really isn't. We live in a really hyper industrialized, technology driven society where a lot of things are quick and disposable. And so craft is not quite as well integrated into the average person's life. And if we looked in our homes, a lot of what we own probably is just industrial commercial objects. And so that got me thinking about where the relevance is. And something occurred with me years ago when I was working on a piece, and I had just finished it, and I was in my studio by myself, and I kind of had an epiphany. And for me, it was maybe sort of a religious experience. I don't know, but I felt like all of a sudden I realized that I was holding something that had never existed before, and that I was privileged to be able to make this beautiful object. It was a piece of jewelry, and it was a real benchmark piece for me. And that I had brought something into the world that had never existed in all of time, and that was a really big thought to me. And that kind of got me thinking about craft in general, in that craft is really our most thorough historic record. We can trace craft back into ancient times, and a lot of what we know and understand about ancient societies and civilizations really comes from the things that they made and the things that they left behind and the things that they used, and things that were part of their everyday life and experience. And I love going to museums and going through the ancient work. That's always been really a source of inspiration for me. And it's always been interesting to me that a lot of that work, though it's attached to culture and it's attached to a specific time and a place, some of it even transcends all of that. Some of it is so universal, it kind of links us in terms of humanity to every age. And there's something really kind of big about that. And so I got thinking about that this week, and it seems to me that where craft becomes relevant maybe now is in that we're part of that timeline. We're historians in some ways. We're making pieces that are important to us, that are important to maybe the time that we're living in. The materials certainly are, and the technology certainly are, that are unique to our time. And this initiative that Craft in America has put forth, I think, is really timely and really a wonderful opportunity for us to look at our heritage as craftsmen, um, what it means to be a craftsman in America. I think, it's we have a kind of a unique situation here in that we don't have this guild system that goes back centuries. We're relatively new to craft compared to other cultures, but we have a very strong tradition. And this initiative that Craft in America has put forward is really bringing craft into um, the general public's view, and even I think elevating it in some of the institutions, the art institutions that maybe wouldn't be looking at craft quite so seriously this year, but they are now because of this. And so I think it's kind of an interesting time for us where we can maybe look at what we're making and wondering, or I've been wondering, what are they going to say about my work 1,000 years from now when they dig it up in the ground? What's it going to say about our culture? And I think it's I think we're in a kind of an interesting place in that yes, it's not necessarily part of our the average person's everyday experience, but it is a record of who we are. And so I don't know, something to
Thanks.
think about.
Wow. Yeah, no, that was great. That was great. It
Yeah,
really it makes us look back historically and then
yeah,
and
yeah,
also, yeah, and also to the future. I mean, I think with the advent of AI and a lot of
yeah,
spending a lot of time in front of the computer, I know in the ceramics world, community studios are just flourishing because people
yes,
want to work with their hands. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what's ahead for all of us.
yeah. I think we have a younger generation that's kind of looking for that, and
I
so I
agree.
think it's a unique time.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
know there's going to be some information at the end for people to like have questions, and this may be a lively dialogue that we may not have a full amount of time to talk about at the end, but I know that there's going to be a way for people to like put questions forward and have it continue. So I'm going to pull um, back to Jorge. And again, I really just want to thank you so much for this opportunity for myself and for all the artists in the show and to have this moment to talk about these questions too. So thanks a lot, Jorge.
Oh, thank you, Holly. And we do actually have a little bit of time right now. If anybody in the crowd has any questions, I know I have one, but I was going to let our guests out there across Florida raise their hands. I think there's a button at the bottom of your screen where you can raise your hand, and Dan can select you, and/or we can go a little punk rock and you can just unmute yourselves and go ahead and ask the question. But I'll start with mine. And uh, with the last show, with the Makers That Made Us, one of the stories, and Michelle pointed out that I was particularly intrigued by the story, but one of the stories of the artist, he's an artist who's actually showing right now at the Mandarin Museum up in Jacksonville. His name was Charlie Brown, and he was a potter. He was originally an accountant and left everything to become a potter. And this was way back in the 50s when I don't think people did that as often as they probably do now. Um, but he grew up on the St. Charles River. And he eventually became known because sometimes he would dig up his own clay from the river to create his works. I thought that was such a lovely way to express place in your work. And since we're Florida Craft Art and a lot of what we do has to do with place, I was wondering if any of the artists who are on the panel today have anything to say about how their work actually relates to Florida as a place.
Mhm.
Don't leave me hanging. I have answers for all of you if you need them.
Well,
Um,
I will
Wendy.
say, I will say that when I was living up north in DC, I noticed that my color palette changed when I came to Florida. And sometimes I'm still sitting in my studio and looking out the window, and I'm thinking about how lush and luxurious the whole landscape is all year long. And I also think this is probably a good time to say how grateful I am to live in the Tampa Bay area and this whole community with Florida Craft Art, because the artists are so connected and we are a supportive community. So it's not only the place as a physical place, but it's also this emotional, supportive, collaborative community that we live in.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I would say with my work, yeah, I do a lot of shell forms, and I live in Naples, so I'm in a beach community. I don't know I don't know which came first, in that there's a natural spin that takes place in the technique that I use. And I was able to sort of recognize and start finessing that early on when I was starting to work with this technique. And that lent itself towards shell type forms or radiating forms like sunflowers, that, the center of a sunflower, the way that opens up, or a fern when it unfurls, things like that. So natural forms for sure are a part of what I do. And I guess that would touch on things that are around me in Florida.
Um, Mindy Solomon just completed a show at the Independent Art Fair in New York, and she got reviews just because she has a gallery in Miami. She used to have a gallery in St. Petersburg. And the work, she only had two artists, but the work was so bright and so vivid. And the comments were that she had the brightest booth at the fair because she was from Miami. So, it kind of all blended together. Another artist I can think of is Jean Yao, who is a basket maker in Fort Lauderdale. And she, when she moved here from Taiwan, she was using natural materials from there. And then she couldn't get her materials when she moved to Florida. So she started walking in her neighborhood, a suburb of Fort Lauderdale, and picking up palm fronds and all the droppings in her neighborhood, and started weaving those pieces together. And that's the core of her work still today. So just another example.
Interesting.
I was waiting to hear a little bit from Marty, only because of what you just said, Michelle, that the colors are so vivid and lush.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know whether that was a response to Florida or something else.
Well, I will say I moved to Florida from Vermont to go to graduate school, and that's when the color happened.
Mm.
Um, I think it was starting to happen prior, but it was a moment where I kind of had the time and space to explore it more. I wouldn't say that it's intentional. Um, I guess the joke that's coming to mind is like the Miami Vice logo, like like this sort of magenta and turquoise. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't say it is intentional, but yeah, certainly I can see that connection.
Thank you, Marty. Well, does anybody else have any other questions? Because that was a really great conversation, I think. All right. Well, thank you, Holly, again for being such a great addition to. May I flatter ourselves in saying that you're an addition to our tribe here at Florida Craft Art, along with all the other wonderful artists that we were able to bring together in this exhibition, but especially the three that spoke on the panel today. Wendy is all too familiar around these parts, so it's wonderful to have new friends like Marty and Sherry, and I thank you all for being a part of this program today.
Thank you for having us.
Not at all.
Yeah, thanks.
So,
And it's nice to connect, Jorge.
oh, it was wonderful connecting with you, Marty. It really, I have to say, in general, beyond these conversations that we're trying to get going. The greatest joy for me in this position has been meeting artists from around the state. I was more involved with craft probably about 20 years ago, and then I went to go work at a museum. And from my ivory tower, basically only worked with people who are no longer alive. So I'm very happy to be in this position now where not only do I get to meet all these great people, but in programs like these and through the gallery, I'm able to bring them together. So thank you all. One of the things that I'm trying to do with these craft conversations is not make it all about Florida craft art. I really sincerely want to share more about Florida, what's going on, and what resources are here. And when we came to it, one of the very first organizations I thought about was the Florida School of Woodwork. Our next guest, if I was to put on my Dick Cavett hat, is Megan Hornaday, who I think Megan Hornaday is relatively new to woodwork, but I would love to hear how long she's been involved, really. She has a master's degree in forensic psychology, lives in Dade City, and is a hay farmer. There's probably not that many hay farmers in the group today, and also very involved with conservation in that area. But somehow she has found the time and found herself as president of the board at the Florida School of Woodwork. So welcome, Megan.
Thank you. I do have a farm in Dade City, and we do grow hay. I'm actually a resident of St. Pete.
Oh, I knew that.
So it's like between my woodworking and the school and my farm and St. Pete and all of those things. I've been retired for about 11 years, and I'm busier than I've ever been. But it's all right. I love it. So. I am a woodworker. I've been a woodworker for about 9 years. After we moved to Florida, I kind of called back upon my 8th grade wood shop and was hacking away in my garage. And I watched a lot of This Old House and HGTV and thought, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I happened upon the Florida School of Woodwork, which at that time it was still fairly new and quite a bit smaller. And just by chance, this was, I guess my first class was in 2018. I was in a class full of women, and it wasn't because we were trying to get it all women, but that's how it was. And it's an incredible location. Our building was built in the 1920s. It was originally the automotive row here. Yellow brick row is what it's called now. And a lot of it is for the yellow brick that you see on the outsides of our buildings. When Carl Johnson, who owns our building, when he bought the shop back in 2010, it was bricked up, it was boarded up, it was not the kind of location that anybody wanted to go. And since then, you can see, particularly from the exterior, they opened it up, put in windows, put in skylights, and then opened up the walls within here. So we have about 3,500 square feet of space here. And I'm just going to move aside. You can see right now that we've got a class going on. I mean, this is a beginning woodwork class. And one of the things that we are the proudest about is that we welcome and we encourage diversity here at our school. We are looking for younger people. We want older people. We are looking for people who are beginners. We're looking also for people who have a lot of experience. In this class today, we have people who have never turned on a table saw, and we also have people who have been working for 50 years, but maybe feel like they developed some bad habits. And that's easy to do. So we've got a lot of people who come in to perhaps a a class where you don't have to have as many skills, and maybe they've got that background. They say, man, I haven't been using safety in a long time. I haven't necessarily been doing the safest thing. But we try to teach good habits from the very beginning. Behind me, the class that is going on, as I mentioned, is a beginning woodwork class, and it's being conducted by our program director, our overall director, Andrew Gibson. And I got to tell you, this guy knows more about woodworking. He's forgotten more than I will ever know. Um, and he enjoys teaching this. He enjoys teaching it as much as he enjoyed learning it. But the thing is when you come in here, Andrew or any of our instructors, they want you to learn. They want you to learn at your pace. They want you to learn in an environment where nobody's coming up to you and saying, hey, let me show you how to do that, the other students or anything. I mean, Andrew and the other instructors, I mean, they set up an environment where it's really welcoming and non-intimidating. In our class, you'll see that we're about 50-50. We're almost half women, but we've also got a couple of assistants in here to help make sure that everybody gets the opportunities to use all of the tools and feels comfortable with this. So I have so much to say about our school, and I absolutely love it. I love that it was women founded. And I was grateful for the opportunity last year when Kate Swan, who founded the school, came to me and said, hey, look, I don't know that the way that things are going are as tenable as I would like them to be. So we had some opportunities there. I was already president of the board by then. And the board that we had, pardon me if I jump around, but the board that we had, primarily what we were in place to do was provide scholarships and to contact those scholarship recipients and let them know that they had won a place in a class. And the other thing that we did is we raised money so that we could provide additional high quality tools. So when somebody comes in here, they would have a high quality bench. All of their hand tools were really good. I mean, we're not going to Home Depot. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. But we have high quality Nerix tools, Lee Nielsen hand planes, saw stop table saws. And we wanted to make sure that that was a constant here, that we always had that kind of quality. And so my position, I became the president of the board, and within a couple of months, it went from picking scholarship recipients and shopping for tools, all of a sudden to how do we become a 501c3? And what we decided is, as a board, we worked with Kate to do an asset purchase so we could keep the school here. This is critical because this is the only school of its kind in the Southeast. If you want to get other woodworking instructions, you have to go to North Carolina, you can go to Maine, you might go to Connecticut. There are some in Texas. I won't lie, they keep changing their status, like how they're going to be running their classes or how they operate their classes, or you can go to Indiana. So this was really important for us to keep this resource here. The other schools that I mentioned, North Bennett Street, Texas Woodworking School in Austin, Center for Fine Craftsmanship in Maine, these are all really great schools. I like to be able to leave my house in St. Pete or come down from my farm in Dade City and be able to get this kind of quality instruction. And when I talk about quality instruction, I mean that we have makers from all over North America. We have makers that are even coming in from Canada. We've got Derek Dooley is coming in from England here in August. And so the quality of the instruction here is really top notch. I'd say pretty much everybody that we've got who comes in as a maker from wherever they're coming has been featured in fine woodworking or popular woodworking. If not in one of those periodicals, because some of these younger people are more about social media, we're going this next year. This is a huge announcement for us. We've got Mark Spagnolo, the Wood Whisperer, who's going to be coming and teaching here for the very first time, and he's going to be on our 2027 schedule. But as exciting as that is, we're also thrilled that we have makers that have been around for a long time, but still have that reputation for such quality. Frank Straza, the marquetry master, Adrian Ferrazzuti, who does incredible veneer work, Michael Fortune, who is one of Canada's prizes. I mean, this is someone whose work is in their government buildings. I mean, he's been commissioned to do that work. But our own Andrew Gibson is coming. We've got Lacey Carnahan coming from Port Townsend. Kelly Parker is coming back from Woodsong Studios, and she's outside of Kansas City. So we want to have this mix of younger makers, makers who've been around and can share that experience, makers who are coming from different schools, and makers who are coming from different mindsets, coming from the world of YouTube, coming from Instagram, but also coming from those traditional methods, you know, that you see in fine woodworking. Oh, I want to also shout out that Andrew's been in fine woodworking a couple of times, and the editor of fine woodworking, Mike Pekovich, he comes and teaches here every year as well. I know I've just been kind of rambling on. Like I said, I'm really excited about the school, and it's one of my very favorite subjects. And one of the things that as president, what I've really had to do is branch out of my really introverted self and start telling more people about us. Because we are a 501c3, now we can open up more towards how we can get donations. And while this school is doing well on its own, we would like to we need more money too, you know? So we want to make sure that we have that buffer so we can continue to get that high quality education or high quality instruction in here. And so that our students can be exposed to that. So that was a huge piece. And so for the last 6 months, what I've been doing is starting to branch out and start to work with local organizations and see how we can get our name out more. So this year we're going to apply towards Creative Loafing's best schools, non-academic, of course. But we would like to put our name out there. We started working with the Tampa Downtown Partnership. We host events in our alleyway. We had one here, a Rhythm and Hues event a couple of weeks ago, where artists were able to just kind of come and set up within set up within our alley, within our space, and share their art. But then that way people could also come in and come through the school. We're also starting to do some work with the 15th Street Urban Farm there in St. Pete, for any of those who are familiar with Emmanuel Roux. And we also we won a bid from the city of Clearwater, so we can be working with their chalk art artists with movable walls. So while we're trying to do this individual instruction here, we're also trying to work with other organizations so we can learn about them, they can learn about us, and we can do more collaboration with them. Have I been talking for 10 minutes straight? It might have been more. I'm really sorry. I'm just so excited about it.
Don't be sorry at all. First of all, because your enthusiasm jumps through the screen, and I might need to take a woodworking class very soon. It looks like such a beautiful space behind you.
It really is. And, you know, the other artists were speaking about craftsmanship, and that's one of the things that we are focusing on here is that the value of craft. And you can go to IKEA and get a table if you need one, but the joy of making your own and coming in here and developing your craft, your artistic skills, you cannot put a price on that. You absolutely cannot put a price on that. And the self-efficacy of saying, hey, I made this. My family's homes are filled with pieces that I have made because I don't have room for them in my houses. But when I make things, I say, hey, I made this, and, you know, I'd love for you to have it. And fortunately, most of the time they are happy to take them. But that's how everybody who comes in here feels is, hey, I made this. This is, you know, what I did. And I made it with my two hands. And I think it was Sherry who said, you know, in 1,000 years, when they dig up the things that we've made, you know, will they see the tables that we've made? Will they see the boxes? Will they see, you know, will they dig up a Windsor chair, you know, or will they still be standing someplace?
Well, it
Oh,
stuck with me too. I was going to go back to Sherry because of what she had said when she spoke about sort of the power of holding something in her hand that no one has ever held before. And it was because she made it, which is, I think that's something that everybody in the craft world must feel from time to time. So we are. Going to share your website along with all the websites from the artists that have spoken today. We might be sharing them right now in the chat for all I know. But we will be doing a follow-up email so people can connect with your fantastic organization. And I don't want to cut off anybody though. If anyone had any questions, um, raise your hand, speak out, and
Yeah, we have a question here.
fantastic.
Jerry, go ahead.
Hi, this is Heather from my favorite art place and my boss, Jerry Manal. We just wanted to share we have a great event called Art Meets Development that's slotted for March of 2027. We put the link in the chat. So please check that out. We're currently looking for 3D artists, and there's lots of you here on the page that fit that criteria. So check out the information and apply.
So this is an opportunity to bring your work in front of the A&D community, architects and developers. Our continual push is more art in commercial and healthcare environments. So that's the focus on this particular event.
Thank you guys. That's actually a really, and there's some shots of Florida now for you. I don't know. I think they were out there before. That was a really great transition to our next section, which is the section that I'm hoping we're going to be able to build over time. We really wanted to make this conversation not just coming out at you. We wanted to hear from you guys too. And if you read the invitation, I would love to hear whether right now, which would be wonderful, or in the chat, anything that's going on around the state of Florida. And I'm including things like upcoming exhibitions, artist opportunities that you all just shared, updates from other organizations out there that might be watching so that we know about them, regional projects or just other ways that you have experienced, if there's been something that you've seen that's happened in other states or in other communities that you found were really productive and a supportive way to sort of raise each other up. I didn't know if anyone had any ideas like that out there. You might not. But I do very much thank you guys for sharing your opportunity, and I hope people take advantage of it. We'll make sure to put your website on the list as well, so people can get a hold of you. And that seems like a really interesting idea for an exhibition and very relevant for our area right now. So thank you. And please, do we have another question? I can't tell. I have to put my reading glasses on. Um, let's see. I wonder if I can open that up. Or Dan, can you read it
Yeah,
for me?
sure. So Fontaine Rogers posted, we are a new nonprofit, the Central Florida Printmakers. If you have a more information or a website, please feel free to share that in the chat, or you can send me a follow-up afterwards, and I'll be happy to include it.
So I see someone, and I don't have my reading glasses on because I'm way too vain, was asking if there was a link. If you registered for this Zoom call, you will be receiving an email with as much information as we can include because we really want it to be informative. And it looks like there's Fontaine Rogers printmaking link. And again, I invite you all, if there's something else that you want to share after the fact, please let us know because we really, a big part of this is connecting everyone out there.
And so It-
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I have so the website is in the chat now for anyone who is interested. That is centralfloridaprintmakers.com. Very easy to remember. And I'll also copy that down and include in that follow-up email. I also had Catherine Erickson chime in about Artisans Village in Punta Gorda is a park with four older buildings that have been turned into galleries and teaching places for fiber, pottery, wood turning, and fused glass. We're open Saturday 10 to 1 and Sunday 9 to 1. So for those of you who are in that area, please check that out. That sounds really cool.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dan.
Uh, I have
Speaking of
one
fiber,
more.
oh,
One more.
great,
I'm sorry.
great. I love this.
We have a lot of people chiming in the chat right now,
I
which is
love
awesome.
this. Don't be afraid to unmute and speak, but by all means, share via chat.
We have the Dunedin Fine Arts Center has an opening Friday, May 29, called Futurology. Call was for all media, 5 sections to the exhibition. And then we have an art party this Saturday, May 23rd. We have a really cool graphic there from Jory Berman. Go ahead and unmute if you can.
Sure, that's for me. Yeah, I'm having an open studio this weekend, but with a cookout involved. So trying to combine some things to make it more fun. And I show my work at Florida CraftArt, and I met a woman, Anita Jimenez, who also shows her work there. She's a glass artist, and she lives in my neighborhood. And so we've been talking for a while about trying to do some kind of pop-up or something together. And I usually do an open studio every December, but I haven't done one in the spring, summer yet. And this is when we could get together. So we're doing it at my studio, which is at my house. It's in Tampa. And it'll be pottery and sculpture and her glass work. And we're having a cookout and just trying to like make it a fun time, have some friends, neighbors, people who are interested in art, people who don't know too much about it, but somehow we're getting the word and show up. So that's what we're doing this Saturday.
Thank you, Jory.
Yeah,
I love the idea of a cookout.
I know. It makes it more fun. And it's also a way to like, I get, like having an open studio where it's just me, sort of, it's very intimidating, like I'm a pretty introverted, quiet person, and then to have like people just show up at my studio is it's kind of hard. But I know I have to do it. It's like how you meet people and make connections and make sales. And so I've been doing it, but I'm always trying to look for a way to make it a little bit more fun or to like sort of divert attention away from myself. And so this is my newest iteration of that, of like it's Memorial Day weekend cookout slash art event.
I love it.
Yeah,
Community, community, community.
exactly.
We
I
probably, oh, I'm
can
sorry,
I
go
jump
ahead.
in for a minute?
Absolutely.
This is Katie Dietz. It's so great to see you all.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hi,
Katie Dietz, the former executive
And
director of Florida Craft Art.
and Jory, I remember she started when I was there
Mhm.
at Florida Craft Art.
Yes.
And I wanted to say that I'm working now at the Armory Art Center in West Palm Beach. Many of you know I moved back here because of my 5 grandchildren. I do miss St. Pete, though.
Miss you.
At any rate, the Armory Art Center is a terrific place. It has been here for 40 years, and it has great classes in ceramics and all sorts of sculpture, including wood carving, welding, and of course with 2D art too. So anyway, if y'all are in the area, please come visit us and also keep in touch with our calls to artists because we have quite a few of them. Anyway, it's great to see all of you. And I was so glad that you showed the permanent collection at Florida Craft Art.
Oh, thank you, Katie.
And I love
Oh, I'm
this
sorry, go ahead.
format, by the way. Thank you for doing it.
Not at all. It's been a pleasure, and we're hoping to do way more of them. So please stay tuned. We are at 3 o'clock, and first of all, I wanted to add something to something that's going on. We're doing a program with the Police Athletic League this summer, and we are yarn bombing some trees out in front of their facility. And we would love, this is a very inexpensive way to become part of the Florida craft art community. If you aren't already, we would love for you guys to be out there making some granny squares. I am learning how to crochet as we speak. I did not do it during this phone call, but I think it would be so terrific if what we did with the trees outside of their facility included granny squares from all over the state. That certainly would be something to talk about. So there'll be more information about that on our website as well. I did want to add one sad piece of news. One of the artists, we unfortunately lost one of the artists that took part in Florida Craft Art. Evelyn Pulitzer passed away. I think it was probably just about a week ago now, but I couldn't tell you exactly. I have to tell you that she was a lovely person and immediately so generous of spirit. I got to know her through FAMA, who is the Fiber Association of the Miami area, who spoke at our last phone call when we called her to be part of Florida Now. She was thrilled and couldn't have been more supportive of the idea. If anyone out there knew Evelyn, I just want them all to know that our thoughts are with you and her family and friends and the many artists and colleagues whose lives she touched over the years, and particularly in South Florida. I only knew her for a short while, but like I said, she was one of those people that immediately touched me. Again, another great, but in this case, sad part of this job. I want to thank everyone for participating. I want to encourage statewide connections beyond these phone calls. We are not your typical commercial gallery, so by all means, call us at any time. We're interested in what's going on around the state. Please stay engaged with us. The next time you get one of these invitations, please invite the friends. And I know you have them because, as Michelle Teagle says, craft people are huggers. I will remind you one more time that we're having a Crafting a Dream fundraiser on December 5th. But go check out our website, which you see our landing page whenever you can. We list artist opportunities there, the exhibitions that we're having. Consider a membership. Follow us on the Craft Art Facebook and Instagram. We really, a big part of this mission for us is connecting the state of makers the way our founders did 75 years ago. And if we can do anything to build upon that, it would be a great thing. I'd be able to go to bed and rest peacefully. Thank you all for being part of this today. And we hope to see you soon at the gallery. And or if not, we hope to see you soon on Zoom. We'll see you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, you guys. Thank you, Megan.
Definitely. Anytime.
It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye.